How's it going, everyone? I have always wanted to talk to today's guest, Phindr, one of the most acclaimed jailbreak YouTubers. Phindr, thank you so much for joining me today. How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing really great. Thanks, for having me on this interview. I've seen you go through a lot of jailbreak creations, people through some like testers and everything, and I think it's a really nice thing that you're doing, and it's like such a unique thing because I've never seen anyone do anything like this ever before. So, I'm really happy to be here. So, thanks so much for having me too.
Yeah, again, thank you so much, and I really appreciate the kind words there. It's a true privilege being able to do this. I absolutely love talking to the jailbreak community, and I really appreciate every single person who has come on. So my first question for you is, what got you into jailbreak, and what keeps you playing?
Right. So I have to say, I wasn't really unique in finding Jailbreak, right? It was mostly just me, and then on the front page, whoa, like there's this brand new game, Jailbreak. This was around like May or like late May, early June to 2017, right? Back then, it was still like a brand new game, and it was like still gaining traction, and I was like, oh no way, I think the jewelry store was in by then, but I first started playing it. I got into it a little bit. I wasn't that good, but what would be nice is that I would meet a lot of really cool people. I would always like play with friends. Jailbreak was always that friend game for me. So honestly, Jailbreak by itself, I never would have gotten into it if I didn't have the support and the fun times playing with other people. So yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree that friends make jailbreak a lot more enjoyable. When I'm playing with my friends, it's just a lot of fun to drive around and see what we run into.
Yeah, definitely.
So you first started gaining popularity by posting short clips. Did you have a strategy behind that? Or did you just post funny moments? And why do you think they were so popular?
Well, I used to use this one website, like free video hosting website, and they would keep on deleting my clips because they would keep on saying that I would be running out of storage or whatever. So eventually I gave up. I was like, you know what, fine. I'll just upload these onto YouTube, like just to share with my friends and stuff like that, because I don't want to keep on losing clips, right? But I never bothered to private them. I just left them there. Obviously they got zero views at all. But what happened was that over time, some of them started to gain traction. Some of them got like 10 views, 20 views out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, cool. I mean, I guess people are, watching my stuff. But then out of nowhere, there was this one video, the Torpedo C4 boost video, that out of nowhere, and it suddenly went up to like 100,000. I'm like, what? It was like one of those like weird moments where I'm just like, okay, so I guess does this mean that like I've actually started to become a YouTuber now? And I just played around with it a little bit. I since I played Jailbreak a lot with friends, I would run into obviously like fun moments. Like there was like the intensity clips that I would run into. That was just all natural gameplay. None of that was staged, by the way. It was just like me messing around with a bunch of friends, and eventually we would just, get into a tight situation. We'd maybe make it out. It would be like really fun. I'd post it, and it would just gain views. And I think what made them so popular was just, I mean, first they were pretty short, like all clips are, but I think being able to have fun with friends, with like a huge group of people, especially if we were on voice chat, would just make clips so much more fun to watch, and it would keep people watching, and that would also boost my clips in the recommendations. And it was a really nice self-building cycle that pretty much built me up.
Yeah, and soon after people started finding your channel through clips, you started gaining even more traction through your unique cinematic content. What gave you the idea to make cinematic content and bring it to Jailbreak?
So, cinematics. Some of my favorite videos ever, or like presentations that I've ever seen, I have always loved Apple presentations and trailers and stuff like that, and how they like blend like transitions and music and like lighting and everything, and like the camera shots are so nice, and they work really well into like this really beautiful like final product. And after like seeing a couple of those videos, and then I was like first tried making cinematic stuff on other games too. Like I would just like do like a small like like free cam edit. It was like extremely basic, but it gave me like kind of that feeling like, oh yeah, I'm a professional movie maker kind of. My first cinematic video for Jailbreak was in April 2020, and back then free cam wasn't a thing, right? So what you would have to do, I would just have like 3 alt accounts, and I would place them around like the map or whatever, and just record stuff going by and whatever, and I would stitch it all together and make it into like some sort of half decent video. And that was really cool. And throughout the years, I've tried to like develop special ways to make cinematics. I have like a custom like program that helps me with that stuff. Love you, Hayes, for that, by the way. And I work a lot in Roblox Studio. I stopped constraining myself just inside of Jailbreak itself and started expanding outside into Roblox Studio, right, where I could custom make sets for videos too. And that would end up being one of my greatest decisions, right? Because a combination of that plus cinematics and stuff like that meant that I could make really cool and unique videos that pretty much before then had never really been done. I don't think ever in Jailbreak, and I think maybe ever for a Roblox game. So that was really cool. I consider myself the person who first popularized cinematics onto Jailbreak, and I'm really happy I did. It's been amazing.
Absolutely agree. It brought a whole new level of quality to Jailbreak content.
Thanks.
What was your reaction to getting so much support so quickly?
Well, that's the thing. It was very surprising for me. Well, I mean, back then, right? I would just make clips and stuff like that, and people enjoyed them so much, and I would be like, "Really? You guys really like this?" Like, because it would just be like normal Jailbreak gameplay, and I wouldn't think that people would enjoy it. But seeing how people have supported me through all these years, and seeing on how much they've like enjoyed like clips and cinematics and stuff like that, and how that's built up. I've really been happy that I've been able to build up such a cool fan base, and I'm really happy that, admittedly, I try and keep a pretty clean public profile because let's be real, I really don't feel like getting caught up in drama or whatever. So honestly, just as long as I'm not like portrayed as the evil guy in the Jailbreak community, I'm happy.
That's a great point. There's a bunch of YouTubers that get really big off of drama, but a lot of times it can be really harmful to your channel, and it's pretty toxic as well. It takes a toll on the person themselves, so I'm glad you stay out of that stuff.
Definitely.
How has your experience been working alongside Jailbreak creators?
Honestly, it's crazy. There's a lot of people that I've just met over the years just from like video projects, right? I think the first person I ever reached out to, I think was maybe Rally, maybe Ed. I don't remember. It was such a long time ago, right? But I started building connections just by asking people, "Oh yeah, can I borrow like your model for a video for like to showcase it?" And obviously some creators are like, "I'm not gonna give like this random like YouTuber like my model that I worked super hard on, right?" And I understand that, but a couple of people did give me the chance. And that pretty much just, I don't know, it let me make so stuff, and I'm really happy that I've been able to build up a pretty good relationship with some people. Like Ed, I love working with him. I work on him on a lot of projects occasionally, and for Jailbreak creation prizes. There's Zuo, thank you for making some of the props for the video that never happened, the EXP1 video, and obviously inspiring, by the way. He's not the biggest creator, but he's helped me a lot on a lot of small projects. He's helped me make like small terrain stuff. Like he helped me like separate the Bloxy into like a million different parts so that I could make that really funny like Lego City transition. That was pretty fun. It's definitely been really nice, and I'm really happy that I've been able to make cool stuff and work alongside people who make cool stuff.
And how did you react to the devs themselves recognizing you and acknowledging your existence?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. I think the first interaction I ever had with a dev was I posted a screenshot of an airtail in the volcano base, and Asimo replied on it. He was like, "That's so cool," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh my god!" And for some other cases, right, like when I first got added into the influencer program in Jailbreak, that absolutely broke my mind for like an entire week. I was like, "Holy crap! I guess I'm real now." It was crazy, and I especially lost it when my airport first getting added in. I was on VC at the time, and I hope nobody has a recording, but I was on like a public VC, and I was like screaming my ass off. Sorry for the language. It was like the biggest like dopamine rush I've ever had in my entire life. I was like, I did it. I did it. So yeah.
Which videos are you the proudest of?
Right. What video is my proudest? That's hard, right? Because you can't like pick a favorite child. It's like you love them all like in their own special way. I love like the Torpedo C4 video. It was so basic, but that was the first thing that launched my channel. I love the Blade video. That was crazy, right? It was like that was one of the first things that anyone had ever done in Jailbreak. It, like importing like a car and like testing it out, like testing a removed car. Like how the hell do you do that, right? That was crazy. But let's see. It's hard to say because from a technical standpoint, I think my favorite video was probably the Proto 8 video. So much work went into that, so much coordination, so much, recording, and I think everything worked really well on that. But honestly, I think if there was one video that I would never be able to do ever again, and that I genuinely am really proud of, except for the voiceover on it. It sucked. That was my first time doing a voiceover, and that video was terrible. You could barely hear my voice. But the Leah review was genuinely one of the craziest things I had ever done. Nobody ever knew anything about it. Like, there was obviously only one in the world, and Leah, the only owner, doesn't even really play the game anymore. So that was such a crazy moment. I tried to document every single part about the Leah that I could, and try and publish every single stat that I could about the Leah, and get like every single like download of the model and everything, and like I have backups and stuff, because I think at the time, just the concept of owning like the rarest thing in existence in Jailbreak was just it was crazy. And although the video wasn't the best, I think the concept for the video and overall like the fact that I did end up having the chance to own the Leah was crazy and makes it probably my all-time favorite video.
Yeah, and one thing I love about your channel is how different your videos are. Each video of yours is a really unique experience, and it doesn't feel like I'm watching the same thing over and over again. Even when you're doing vehicle reviews, you somehow find a way to make them different. Obviously, a lot of YouTubers find their niche with a certain type of content. Obviously, that's what my channel is about, but I think you're kind of the exception to the rule where you somehow reinvent the wheel every time.
Yeah, I try my best to outdo myself every other next video that I do. Admittedly, it is kind of a problem occasionally. Back then, that was really easy. Or like, because back then my videos were pretty rough, right? I would just do something else. Like, oh yeah, I would add in more like this new cinematic shot. I would do in this like cool new set, right? The dino was a really big step in the right direction, right? That was pretty cool. Eventually, it started getting to the point where I would have to add in so much stuff that I would get burnt out in the middle of producing the video. That's what happened to the PARISIAN video. That's what happened to the Shogun video. Like, a lot of the sets for that video are made and everything. If you watch like the start of the video is beautiful. It is amazing. And then I run out of steam like halfway through the video, and then I never finish it. By the next time I check, it's already been like a week or two before since the car's been out. And then it's kind of like, I don't know, should I really make this video? It's a never-ending cycle, and it's pretty bad. I've been trying to learn how to, tone it down a bit and, be satisfied with what I've made. So yeah.
I totally get that. Burnout is a thing I struggle with as well. Sometimes I slack on a video and I miss the optimal time to release it. I think in your case though, people will watch your video no matter when you post it because they really love your content and they don't watch just for the vehicle or item being covered. My thought process behind your burnout struggle would be it's better late than never. I also think it's good to give your content as much time as it needs. I do have a deadline for most of my videos, but I also don't try to rush myself. And if I miss a deadline, oh well. The video just needed more time. So that would kind of be my advice to you. Better late than never, and also let the video take as long as it needs, but without procrastinating, if that makes any sense.
Definitely, because that's one of the things that I need to work on the most.
So what's the general process for making one of your videos? And how long do they take on average?
Right. So let's see. My video making process is kind of weird because, well, what I used to do is I would completely like freehand it. I would make like a scene and then I would just make the other scene. There was like no planning at all, and it would just kind of work, and I would just slap a song underneath it, and you know what? Sure. But over time, I've tried to like become a bit more professional about it. But one kind of unique thing that I feel like I try to do is I always try to structure my videos where I film it around a song. So what I usually do is I actually pre-select the music for a video, and I work around that song and structure the entire video around that song. That's why in a couple like my reviews, right, the music syncs pretty well up the action, like what's going on in the video and everything like that, because I really like that like synchronization between music and visuals and stuff. But obviously I also do like a bit more planning. I obviously like write out a script, since I use like animation, like this really cool feature on Roblox Studio called Live Animation Creator for like a lot of like the scenes where I'm like walking around a car and whatever. I prop my phone up on like this like desk, and I just record myself like in my room doing the walking and stuff like that. And obviously I need to sync that up with like the text and what I'm talking about, and what's on the screen and whatever. It used to be a lot more free, but now it's a lot more planning and a lot more, I guess you could say, professionally produced. I feel like the quality has increased thanks to that, but because of that, videos usually take the better part of a week to finish if I'm like really on task. If it doesn't, then it can quickly go like one or two, and yeah, and then that's when I get back into that cycle of just burning myself out and whatever. But yeah.
Besides making videos, you are also a pretty avid modeler. Talk to me a little bit about your modeling career and what's your favorite modeling achievement?
I really first started picking up Roblox Studio when I was maybe like 11 or like 10 or whatever like that. I would just like, throw stuff together. I was like, oh yeah. And I would import random stuff from like the toolbox and whatever and like call it a game or whatever. But that's pretty much where I first started, right? And I found it pretty fun. In Minecraft terms, I've always been a creative mode person, not a survival mode person, right? I like building stuff. I'm not exactly like the competitive, like the gameplay type of guy. So I would make stuff like that. And then I would make it as a hobby occasionally. And then I think the first time I started making stuff on Jailbreak was when I first got my hand on a world download of Jailbreak. And then I started like working on and expanding the cargo port near the power plant. And I don't know, that was just kind of my first foray into like making stuff on Roblox Studio. And then eventually I started, developing a bit more, precision and like knowledge when it came to using Roblox Studio. I obviously made the airport. That was really cool. And then I also made the penthouse, and I've also worked on a couple of small other projects that I've never made public. But honestly, my favorite ever, I think, Roblox Studio creation has been that bunker. The Bunker 8, it's a pretty old creation, but I love the concept. The execution of it was pretty cool. I asked a pretty good friend of mine at the time to make some props for that and to like help me out for a little bit. But generally, most of the designing, the concept was mostly original. I don't know, and putting it all together, it just came out really nicely. It was such a unique thing. Obviously, the airport's cool and all, penthouses are cool and all, and they somewhat made it into the game, but the bunker, I love that thing.
Alright everyone, now we're at the mailbag segment. I asked you guys to send in some questions, which I'll ask Phindr directly. So first question comes from That's Life. He asks, what's the origin behind your name?
So, my name, well, Phindr, it's actually pretty simple, and it's like a little known secret. Pretty much, Phindr is a combination of part of my first name, my middle name, and my last name, and it was just all combined into one. I didn't actually come up with it myself. I remember just asking my dad once when I was in like 5th grade. I was like, "Hey, Dad, can you think of a username?" My old username was Philip4550. That was terrible, by the way. Never put your real name inside of a username because Roblox will not let you change it. But pretty much, he was like, "Okay, yeah, Phindr," and he came with it up with it on the fly. I was like, "Okay, sure." And I don't know, the name just kind of stuck, and I mean, I kind of like it. It's short, it's memorable, and I think it's worked pretty well. So yeah.
Next question comes from Jaden. He asks, what is your favorite car in real life?
Right. Okay. Well, I do like my cars, so I think I'll split it up into two. My realistic car would be the Lexus LC500. It is this really, really nice coupe Grand Tourer that Lexus made a couple of years ago. I think it has one of the most striking and clean designs ever. I don't know. I'm not really that much of like a race, like harsh type of guy. I like stuff comfortable, right? And that thing just has such a nice interior. It sounds amazing. It rides super smoothly. So yeah, that's in the obtainable car category. I think that would be my favorite car. But genuinely one of my favorite cars of all time, and my dream, quote unquote, I guess, car would be the McLaren P1. It is so cool. It is, in my opinion, the most beautifully designed car ever. The design works so well. It's functional, it's form and function combined. Everything about it, like the story behind it, all the technology that goes into it. I think it's also like a design that's aged extremely well. And yeah, it's just, if there was one car that I could get into Jailbreak, it would be the McLaren P1. I love it. I love it.
Next question comes from quite a few people. They ask, what is your favorite jailbreak vehicle? And I don't think this will be a hard one for you at all.
Yeah, well, I feel compelled to say the car sitting behind me, the Proto 8, is genuinely one of my favorite cars. I love the look of it. I love the customization, the way it rides. My only gripe might be that, it potholes a little bit, but, whatever, I can forgive it. Otherwise, it's an amazing performing vehicle, and I don't know, it's kind of iconic. I think I like it, and I'm really happy to hear that a lot of other people have loved it being added into the game too. But yeah, that is probably my answer. Thanks, Speed Queen, by the way.
Yeah, it's just so good looking. Definitely one of the best looking cars in the entire game.
Genuinely one of my favorites. Yeah.
Next question comes from Sugar Hypa. He asks, what are some personal gripes you have with Jailbreak and the community?
Okay. Generally, I've been pretty okay, aside from like the normal stuff like auto arrest, stuff like that, which, obviously pissed me off and everyone off. I think my biggest gripe would probably be row searchers. Look, if my joins are off, Generally, it's because I'm doing something with like people that, I'd rather keep private, or that I'd rather, I'm just like hanging out with friends and I'd rather not have to like interact. Sometimes, I just need a break. I'd like some time alone. And when people row search and, try and get into games that I'm trying to play peacefully, especially if it's like the people who try to PvP me and stuff like that, oh my god. But otherwise, generally, I think the jailbreak community isn't really that bad. I mean, obviously there are some annoying people here and there, but as a whole, I don't really hate it that much. I think it's a pretty nice place to be.
Yeah, I do really get what you're saying with the role searchers. I guess it's one of the downsides of being as big as you are. I'm lucky enough that I only get people targeting me when I'm live streaming, and that's because I encourage it by playing in a public server since I want to keep things more fun. But I can only imagine how annoying it is for you guys to just have people joining and harassing you endlessly.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, next question from Badcc asks, what does it take to be a content creator and how do you grow your YouTube channel?
I think it takes actually a considerable amount of like planning and foresight, which is something that I don't actually have, which is why I'll get into this later, but it was kind of one of the downfalls of my channel. But I think you really do need to kind of plan stuff out, and you have to approach what videos you make like pretty strategically, and that definitely helps you a lot. And also, one of the things that I used to grow my YouTube channel is definitely hop and like small niches, not necessarily like a niche that's like so specific, but definitely one that you think like people would enjoy but just not really think of. And that goes for a lot of stuff, by the way, especially when it comes to like jailbreak creations and stuff like that. If you're gonna make something obviously that's like both has widespread appeal but also has a bit of like that cool little like flair to it that might not be like the first thing that people think of, but when they see it they'll be like, oh yeah, this is cool, right? In terms of tips, I guess I could say that, yeah, on how to grow a YouTube channel or how to be a content creator.
I agree with that 100%. It's important for creators to stand out since you need to give people a unique reason to watch you instead of someone else's channel. But of course, you also have to appeal to the masses in some way.
You also, this also builds off onto that, but you also try and find something that is a bit harder for people to replicate. Like clips, they're easy for you to make, but it's also easier for anyone else to make. So obviously you have to, distance yourself from the competition a bit, or do something that's hard for other people to replicate, definitely.
Hey, what's this? Why is there Parisian here?
Ow.
Zio, are you alright?
Sup, nerd?
Hi.
How can I help you?
So,
Uh-huh.
it's been like 4 months.
4 months? Ever since?
Where is it?
Where's what? Wait. Okay.
Wait, put the gun down.
You know what?
Zio, please. I have a family and kids, and I'll get to it. I promise. I'm sorry, Zio. Please leave me
Where
alone.
is it?
I'm sorry. I've tried all I can. It's against my soul.
Okay, fair enough, but I still need to know. Where is the funny car video?
It will be releasing soon. Trademark.
Good, because on the behalf of Zio, Hayes, and the rest of the Jailbreak community, we demand that you release the Parisian video.
Doorstep.
Huh, that was weird. I guess that concludes the mailbag segment. Thanks to everyone for sending in your questions, and thank you, Zio, for interrupting our interview. So around September 2022, you suddenly left YouTube, deactivated your Discord, and basically said you were leaving Jailbreak forever. What was the mindset behind that original decision, and what made you come back?
Okay, that story is definitely a pretty complicated one, and it takes some time to explain, but pretty much, right? If there is one thing that people might not know about me, is that I admit I'm a lot more of an impulsive guy than I'd like to be. So when it comes to making decisions, occasionally I'll just jump the gun and I'll do stuff without fully thinking about it. So at that time, right, that was very close to rock bottom for me. The problem is, I'm also a pretty bad multitasker, as in I can really only keep one thing in my mind at a time. And when it comes to doing stuff, that meant that I would dedicate so much effort, so much energy onto, YouTube videos and, just online stuff in general, like making YouTube videos, making projects like the prison, stuff like that. But the problem is, I'm really bad at managing stuff, so I would completely like forget about stuff in real life, like school was absolutely terrible for those like 2 years when I was doing YouTube. And the problem is relationship with people in real life was also like deteriorating. My connection with like my family was getting pretty bad, and so with like some of my friends and everything, because I would just place so much focus on YouTube. And eventually, after a couple of things happened, and I realized I was just like in such a really bad place that I pretty much just like broke down this one night, and I was like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. And then I just completely, in admittedly a pretty overdone fashion and kind of an impulsive thing, I completely just cut everything off. I unfriended a lot of people. I, stopped talking to a lot of people. The problem is I never really could commit to quitting because I always kind of did miss it. And that's why, like, out of nowhere, I did make that javelin video because I just missed the feeling of making something for such a long time that I finally just caved in. And when like an opportunity came, like a cool car like that came out, I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll just make a video. But obviously the problem is, one of the things that was a mistake was that I said that I was quitting instead of taking, like a really long break. I remember when I first quit, and then people were saying like, oh yeah, this guy's just like quitting for, clout, or for like, like to generate hype or whatever. And that's a problem. When I did make one other video, and then that proved a lot of people's points, that was just such an utter crap show. It was a terrible mismanagement on every single part, and it is probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever done. And that just got even worse when Speedqueen got selected for the Proto 8, right? I obviously really appreciated that, something that she made for me won. And I was like, okay, so now I felt kind of compelled to make something for it. And I did make something for it. And it ended up being one of my favorite videos ever. But the problem is, after so many months of not making something, I kind of lost that habit of like the production style. I mean, like, the steps that I needed to go through to make a video. So when I did say that I was going to come back, to make the Proto 8 video, it ended up being also another bad thing because I wasn't fully dedicated to coming back to YouTube, but I also needed to make something because I felt compelled to, because, the Proto 8 won. And then that's left me in such a really weird limbo where I'm not super enthusiastic about YouTube anymore. But since I already said that I'm coming back, people expect me to upload stuff, and people want me to upload stuff. Admittedly, I'm in a pretty bad place to be. Some people still think I'd quit for clout. Some, people still expect me to come back. And then that's also another problem because since I messed up so much in 10th and 11th grade and a bit of 12th, because like, okay, my grades were pretty bad, everything, right? And obviously I wanted to get into a college, but obviously with the grades that I had, I just totally couldn't get anywhere that would even be like half decent. So when community college came up, right, and the opportunity came up that I could retake all of like my important classes and then I could transfer over to an actual real university, that pretty much came up, and I was like, okay, you know what, I got to redo how much I messed up on 10th and 11th grade, and I need to do this so I can go to an actual university and make my life something other than just the mess that it was. That's my problem. Also another problem, because university is starting, community college is starting in like a month or two, and once I'm in community college, I don't want to fall into the same trap of not dedicating myself to it, where I like start making YouTube stuff again and then it derails me a second time. So honestly, by the time that community college comes over, I probably just do not want to bother at all with YouTube stuff anymore, because I just don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk all the effort and all the money and everything that I've put in to be able to get into community college. And, I don't want to mess up again. So yeah, that's why I'm in a really weird place. And also, to kind of add on, I feel really bad because, I'll never forget, but I remember like checking YouTube a couple of days after I quit, and then, so many people were like saying bye. I mean, Simo said goodbye. You made, like a goodbye video, and Sunny, and, a lot of people did. And coming back after that just felt like such a betrayal. Honestly, maybe it would have been a better thing that I just never came back at all. And I don't know. That's kind of hard to say. That's pretty much how everything's, unfolded. Honestly, in a manner that I just really am not a fan of. I feel like there's just a lot of mismanagement, a lot of crap that went on. And now I'm in a pretty weird place. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I'm really sorry to hear about that.
It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that I can, turn everything back around. Hopefully, hoping for the best. But yeah.
I think actually the way you handled your comeback was really good. You've made it very clear that you're not back to the full extent that you were before you quit. So it's kind of helped your viewers set their expectations and allowed you a lot of flexibility. And I think that's the way to go, honestly. I don't think you need to fully quit. Obviously, your real life stuff is very important and absolutely has the highest precedent. But if something in the game really speaks to you, or you feel really compelled to make a video covering it, then I think ignoring that urge to create would be a shame as well. I'm really glad you came back, and I do think you should stay. I think you should take your own time. And like we talked about earlier with the burnout, take as long as you need on your videos. Don't worry about a strict deadline. I think people will watch your videos no matter what, even if the cars are months old, since your content is just so good. Like, if you ever end up finishing the Parisian video, I'm sure people will absolutely love it and still watch it. It is really good that you were reflecting on how your YouTube channel was affecting your real life. And it's really impressive to hear about how you're turning your life around. I wish you the best with whatever you're dealing with. And if you end up making more videos, I think that would be awesome. But if you don't end up making more videos, you're totally justified. You don't owe us anything. You've already created so much epic content for us to watch. But on the other hand, if you ever do feel an inclination to make something, I don't think you should ignore it either. If you're able to, I think it would be good for you to continue expressing yourself through making videos. I hope this message is kind of coming across in a good way.
Yeah, I understand. And yeah, no, you bring up a lot of good stuff, and yeah, I think that's probably how I'm gonna set myself up. Definitely, if I have time and something cool that I love, comes to the game, I probably wouldn't be able to resist, hopping on and making at least a little something, right? Thanks for understanding, honestly, and it's kind of nice to be able to get this off my chest. It's been bothering me a lot because I'm sure a lot of people got this wrong idea, but it's just, yeah, it's a lot of messed up stuff.
Yeah, again, I'm really grateful that you felt comfortable enough to share that with me and the people watching. And I hope that some people watching, if they had that wrong impression of you earlier, I hope this kind of lets them understand what your mindset was and what your intentions were. I don't think you should bother yourself that much about the way you left. It was a bit rash, yes, but it was totally understandable why you did it. And even though you deleted your Discord server, whatever, you made a new one, you got most of the people back. Even if you weren't considering it, you were very wise in not deleting your channel. That would have set you back even further. I think you handled things in a pretty good way, and you've kind of given me a way to act when I end up leaving. I'm planning on just saying I'm taking a break. I'm not going to completely shut the door. I'm going to leave it open for a possible return. If something really excites me, I'm not going to stop myself from covering it and playing the game, but I'm making it clear that I'm not going to be around to the same extent that I used to be.
Yeah, just never just completely burn off a bridge, right? Generally, it's always best to keep it a little bit open, and that was a mistake that I made, saying that I was, cutting it off, that I'm done. Thank God I didn't delete my channel. That there would be no coming back from that. Yeah, honestly, the only thing that really annoys me is just, well, that I still do feel kind of bad about, is just the amount of people that showed me support and like understanding when I first left, and if it very slightly feels kind of like a betrayal to go back on that, and kind of it was kind of awkward, definitely, I feel like, but maybe it was for the better, maybe not, but yeah.
I'm definitely happy to see you're still here with us, and hopefully those other people feel the same way. And for my final question to you, Phindr, are there any social medias or special projects you'd like to promote? Here's your chance. I mean, I don't think you'll need it. Everybody watching this video already watches you, probably. But still, if there's anything you want to talk about, here you go.
Yeah, well, there is one thing. Me and Ed have been working really hard together on this one super beautiful car that, I may have teased a little bit earlier in this video. I mean, once this video is up, it's probably been uploaded already, but it's going to be posted to Jailbreak Creations, and if you could, take a look at it. We put a lot of effort into making it, the scenes and all the imagery and everything for it. So I think you guys will like it, and I definitely love it. So yeah, that's it.
All right, and a link to that Reddit post will be in the description as well as the pinned comment. So please go over there and show your support by giving it an upvote. And that's going to conclude my interview with Phindr, my Phindr view, if you will. I really enjoyed talking to you today. I'm very grateful that you were open about the struggles you were facing, and I learned a lot about you and your channel. It was very nice to meet you and talk to you pretty much for the first time. I truly wish you the best with whatever life throws at your way, and I hope to see more epic content from you in the future, but if this is it, then I'll just keep rewatching your old videos.
No, I'm sure I'll make at least something else, and trust me, it'll probably top my Proto 8 video by a long shot. But yeah, thank you so much too for having me on, and thanks for giving me an outlet, I guess, for explaining a bit of stuff that's been on my chest. And thank you. I'm really happy that I made it here and that you would have invited me. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Make sure to go subscribe to Phindr if you haven't already. Make sure to go follow him on Twitter at Phindr_. And don't forget to join his Discord server. All of those will be linked in the description and pinned comment below. And that's going to be it. Thank you, Phindr, and thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.